The Trump administration is pushing back hard against a new ACLU Minnesota lawsuit accusing federal agents of infringing on civil rights. It claims that officers are routinely racially profiling residents, failing to identify themselves, and ignoring documentation of citizenship or legal status. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security called the allegations disgusting, reckless, and categorically false. Joining me now, Catherine Allen Halverson, an attorney for the ACLU of Minnesota. It's good to have you here, Catherine. So if you could, walk us through some of the stories that are driving your case.
Thank you for having me, Chris. We are filed this lawsuit on behalf of 3 plaintiffs and many more Minnesotans who've been racially profiled and stopped, detained, arrested by ICE agents who have been masked, not identified themselves, refused to accept identification from people when they offered it, refused to allow people to leave who provided valid evidence of their citizenship, and used excessive force to arrest and bring them to the immigration building here in St. Paul.
You have argued, and the lawsuit argues this is part of a broader pattern, and you just laid out in general what those things are. But is there a particular story or particular stories that you think are indicative of this broader problem?
Sure. Our client, Mubashir Hussain, a U.S. citizen, walked outside of his workplace on a lunch break in December, where he was stopped, violently detained, pinned down, and arrested by ICE agents, and they refused to look at his passport card that he told them was on his phone. They refused to look at his identification documents that his manager ran down to provide to them when they heard that he was being detained. And they arrested him and brought him into detention. And Mubashir Hussain is a U.S. citizen who was forced to, be detained and arrested, and then just left at the immigration building with no way to get home after they put him through this, even though they could have resolved it from the get-go by just letting him show them his ID. But even before that, they shouldn't have profiled him in the first place. They didn't have any reason to stop him. They didn't have anything to suggest that he was not, a citizen, and they did it anyway.
Minnesota tribal leaders are restricting ICE from entering Native reservations because they say the agency has unlawfully detained 3 homeless tribe members. DHS claims it has no record of that, but Native advocates spoke about it with a local TV station, and I want to play that.
Kind of seems really appalling and kind of somewhat backwards if you're going to call any indigenous person from any tribe, an immigrant. We consider ourselves the first people.
It's all a big scare tactic. It's a big bully system right now, and they're trying to scare the people into doing what they want.
So some members of the tribe have been wearing their Native IDs around their necks. Anyone who knows people in the immigrant community will tell you that, like the person you pointed out, they carry with them identification saying, I'm here legally, I am an American citizen in many cases. And yet, as you point out, they don't check, they don't care. That's the reports that we have gotten repeatedly. So what can somebody do to protect themselves? Well,
Chris, first of all, I appreciate how difficult this is. And this is because the administration and immigration enforcement authorities, ICE, CBP, and DHS agents are targeting Minnesotans based on their perceived Somali and Latino status. And what is happening is that our, Native people in Minnesota are being swept up in that because they're being racially profiled as fitting into those categories. And that's absolutely unlawful and shouldn't be happening. Of course, carrying your ID is an important thing to do, and it is helpful. But frankly, in this moment, many of these agents are disregarding valid ID, calling it fake, and still arresting people and detaining them, which is deeply disturbing and illegal and unlawful. It's a violation of these our Minnesotan communities' constitutional rights. And we think a court should take action to stop it.